Wiser with wine. Wiser with wine. Keeping it real, one pour at a time. This is Wiser with Wine.
Well, hello, welcome back to Wiser with Wine. It's been a very eventful weekend for myself. But before we talk about the weekend, I'm just going to introduce you to who we are talking to today. It's Mr. Russell Blaikie, my dear friend, old boss.
Renee.
Who used to own Must Wine Bar, partly own Must Wine Bar, but was always there as the chef owner that graced the streets of Beaufort for 17 years, was it, Russell?
19 and a bit.
19 and a bit. Sorry, there's my math going out the window.
Yep. I won't go to days and minutes.
And,
and
I went and worked for Russell on 4 separate occasions in 4 separate capacities. And that's how much I enjoyed working with you because I just...
Well, I did want you to come back as well.
Absolutely.
You didn't kind of outlive the welcome.
But the weekend first, because I'm so excited because Doc has bet Carlton.
Okay, but
Yes.
all right.
All right?
But it's short-lived. Okay, get over it.
But you can see Russell's shirt. He's wearing purple and white. I'm got my purple and white.
I actually didn't notice that till now. I'm thinking,
and my purple and white
leaving.
scarf.
I was going to come in the hoodie, but I didn't
I
think
know,
it'd be
it's stir. So as you know, my family in my house, we've got Carlton paraphernalia up on the walls. So it was just wonderful that we had that
I
win.
just stopped watching. I think the second quarter, I was just like, we're going to leave.
So you watched the game on the weekend, Lucy?
I started to, and then I just got so depressed, I stopped.
It was great, and it was good to see us kind of power through at the end.
Yes,
and,
I agree.
And I was on the couch at home. I didn't go to the game, but I was screaming.
Yeah,
And Tam wasn't
I think
telling
a lot
me
of
to
people were.
shut up.
A lot of people were screaming.
So we're going to have a look at your life, Russell, in general over the years. We do a quick biography, and then what you're currently doing is the aim of the podcast today. But I just want to have we do a weekly wine. We just talk about something. And last week, or something that's bothering us or something that could change where we live. And I went to a dentist in an affluent suburb last week. I laid on the bed. They gave me a warm blanket on top.
They actually give you a bed and a dentist?
Yeah, like a bed.
Don't you just sit in a chair?
No, listen. A bed and a blanket. And then up on the screen was Netflix. So I could actually...
I thought you were going to say happy ending. Sorry. Is that what you were thinking?
No, there's the Netflix and I got to watch the show while the dentist was working on my teeth. So I actually think every single dentist in Perth should be doing that.
My dentist has a TV.
Oh, wow.
can I ask
I'm
you
in the
this?
wrong suburb.
When I go and get my teeth done, TV, but it's always a cooking show, and it's like the worst. I'm getting my teeth done, then I'm watching cooking. Every time it's always something like a cooking show, and I get hungry.
Well, I've never seen...
My mouth wide open.
Well,
I hate it when they ask you a question and
You're like,
I know.
The hands in your mouth. It's
I
like,
know.
and drool coming down.
it doesn't work.
All
Wow.
right.
Okay.
Something
I know.
different.
I thought I'd never
We
seen...
obviously are going to the wrong
You,
dentist.
I got to pick what show I wanted to watch, and I watched the end of. We've spoken about it before. Department Q, great show, and I watched it again because I couldn't get enough. It was perfect.
That is crazy.
It's a really good show.
Yeah, really good show.
Yeah.
So Russell and I met. How many years ago did we meet, Russell?
You say. I'm terrible with dates.
I reckon it was
Shocking.
20 years ago.
Could be.
Yeah.
So you were 5 years in at Must?
Yes.
Give or take?
Yeah,
I'm
give
so
or take.
glad you're bad with dates too, because I'm horrible.
Oh, shocking.
And I can't. I'm just trying to remember because nobody would hire me. Like I got off the ship and I was
You're off the cruises. You're off the cruise lines. Remember that.
Yeah, and Russell we sat up in the Champagne Lounge and had a chat. And I'd been looking for a job for about 10 months.
So I took people to the Champagne Lounge for good chats or bad chats.
Yeah, cool.
So yours was a good one?
Mine were always
Good memories, that's why she
Mine was always
mentioned it.
good chats up there. And so I came on board Open Must Margaret River and we worked together there, and then I came up to Perth and I did function. And the fondest memory I have of Russell is I walked into Must on the first day. I met the restaurant manager and you were in the kitchen talking about barramundi. And you were saying how beautiful the fish was.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't let me go up to the office until I came and looked in the fish's eyes. You go, come and look at the eyes, beautiful fish.
Give it a kiss. Give it a kiss.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
No
that was the first time, or the second time I met him, and he was talking to this fish. I'm going, he loves love your food. I mean,
I wouldn't have thought of that.
yeah.
I was like, weirdo.
Yeah, but getting. I mean, there's something about food that if you really have a passion for something, tell the world.
Yeah.
Tell everyone about like, because, like one of our biggest things at Muster was our suppliers, and their stories were so important because their passion was infused into the food and the produce they gave. And I always bought into that. And I just wanted to tell the world about good stuff.
So you're more into like the backstory instead of just having.
Well, you can
from
taste
start
it,
to finish.
but you taste the backstory on the plate. When somebody, like when the marshals down at Torbay went to all this length in the 80s to develop and grow asparagus and really nurture and get the right type of hybrids and all this kind of stuff to produce a beautiful, fat, amazing asparagus and they're as thick as your thumb and they're delicious and delicate. Why wouldn't you tell people about it?
I'm hungry.
Why wouldn't you tell the world? Because
Cool.
if we didn't tell the world and they didn't get business, they'd go out of business. So, you don't be secretive about it. You got to tell the story.
No,
So
I agree with that.
In the Must Kitchen, producer would come. I remember vividly. They come and walk in with their stuff, like their food, like the truffle.
Al Blaikie.
He'd come in. Well, it was Truffle Week at Must, and he'd bring it in, and all excited, and we all get excited about the food. It was great. Great memories.
That's a good energy to have.
Well, actually, Al, the first time I met him, he's a pretty ragged looking guy. Pretty ragged.
Yes.
Dirty, long hair, baseball cap. He came in with this esky. Yeah. How you going? How you going, mate? He's real, how's your father? And he opened this esky and this aroma of truffles came out of it. And I thought he nicked him.
The back of the truck.
I'm going, who is this guy? God, he's just totally how's your father? And developed a long-standing friendship and relationship and business relationship with Al. And we still use Al Blaikie's truffles through Prendiville Group now. And it was just, but then behind his intelligence and the fact that he really was the person who inoculated all the truffle trees initially in Western Australia. He's the man behind all that initially. He developed the method of doing it. He's grown huge plantations. He's developed others. Great guy, great friend, and just soul of the earth, mangy boy.
Yeah.
Gosh,
It was great.
truffles are amazing.
And my other great memory about Russell's always has a clean apron. Always. Apron was never dirty.
Even in the midst of
No,
cooking?
I've never seen a dirty apron.
Yeah.
on me.
Gary used to come in. Yeah,
remember?
I'd be talking at an
never
event,
seen
and Gary and say, "Look at you. You don't do any work, do you?"
No, sorry,
Shout
I
out to
would think
Gary.
that too. I've never seen a clean apron unless they've changed to come out and greet. But I've never seen a clean.
Well, Russell always had a clean apron on.
That is a
It's
feat in
it's
itself.
perfecting the step back when something.
See, I only know
slops.
messy chefs.
It's a technique.
I live with one. I love him, but it's like if you can get the highest point you can get it in the house, sauce is like you've won.
Russell always had a clean apron. So
There you go. That's interesting.
Well, then let me ask this then.
Yeah.
Must. How was it first received when you guys opened the doors?
yeah.
Yeah, so Must was the brainchild of Emery Banting, and Gary. So Emery had a vision for a kind of a Parisian bistro on Beaufort Street, and it was unique in Perth.
It was definitely
Nothing
something
like it.
different.
It was now Gary, in terms of the site, Gary Gazzatti, he was in partnership with Phil Sexton. I knew Gary from my days at King Street, and when they set up the Queen's Hotel, Gary looked across the road and there was this place called Shambles that was a furniture room, and he thought, gee, that'd be a good place to buy and set up something in. It'd be great for a wood-fired pizza or something. I think he made them an offer and it fell through, and whatever. Years later, it came around, and Gary thought, great site for a venue across the road from the Queen's, really high of activity in Beaufort Street. So then when they approached me, a lot of backstory, but probably if there was the most important thing for me, French food was my training. That was
That's your
complete
background.
in my background. There's a story around why I wanted to open a French bistro, and it started in Burgundy. And so when I couldn't say yes quick enough when Anne-Marie and Gary approached me to open Must, because it was like, hallelujah, this is what I want to do. Open a French bistro in Perth, cook classic food that's pared back and not fine dining. And so we opened it. I met Andre, interviewed for Andre, the head chef. I got this really big man crush on Andre when he said he was a charcutier, and I just found it. I looked at his CV. He worked in his dad's charcuterie shop. He worked in charcuterie shops in Paris, all this kind of stuff. And he's just a no bullshit, straight up, really hardworking, really good cook, really good person, genuine person. So
the charcuterie plate, I should remember, but do you want to explain what was on there?
Well, so this is the bedrock of Must, and that is one thing we're going to do in this business is we're going to make our own charcuterie. And when I met Andre, I went, Andre, we're going to have a charcuterie plate on our menu. Okay, so we opened Must. And people couldn't even say charcuterie. I mean, what's
I'd love to know how they keep Peter involved.
What's a charcuterie?
So true.
And we're Andre's making a ham en persillé and the terrines. I had a dish from the Dorchester that I made that was a chicken liver parfait. So combined effort, and we sold 2 a week. And I said to Andre, I said to the guys at the front, stick to it. It's a really good plate of food. It is perfectly built for wine. We're sticking with it, and we're going to make it work because anyone else would have taken it off the menu because it just freaking didn't work. We were the first place to have a charcuterie program in Australia, I think. Long story short, first year or so, a little bit shaky. Business was a bit tough. It was hard to get traction. It was a hard
sell to at the beginning.
It was hard to get traction.
It was completely different. It really was.
When you go out to a restaurant, let's go to Chinese. Let's go to Italian. Let's go to a wine bar.
Yeah.
It doesn't process. It doesn't. You think,
what's the experience I'm going to have? Yeah. So there's no precondition of the experience if there's nothing in town like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had to create the experience, and the thing is, as you know, Renee, the moment somebody hit their foot on that front carpet, they were in our experience. The barman or the nearest person had to eyes on that person and say, "Hi, how you going? Come on in." So we created the experience from the moment you set foot on our threshold. I will agree to that.
Yeah, definitely.
It was really important. So it was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough. Anne-Marie left after about a year.
Oh, geez.
We spoke to it's really funny. This isn't how architecture affects restaurants. We talked to the architect and we said 2 things. One is the wine bar didn't have enough wine on the shelves behind the bar. Within 12 or so months, we completely gutted the bar and quadrupled the amount of stock behind that bar. That back bar, as you know, ridiculous.
Was it just covered?
It was absolute. So it was. We said let's make it the wall of wine and booze. Number 1. Number 2. We had this decal on the front window that if you're at the Queen's, you couldn't see through it. So we reversed the decal so you could see what's happening inside. Guess what? People at the Queen's are going, "Hey, that looks good. I'm in." So that was an architect's the idea to say, let's change that. And from the next thing was the nightclub down the road.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yeah. I forgot the name now.
I'll tell you, I know what you're saying.
Jeff opened the nightclub down the road, and the Queen and the Beaufort at the hotel down the road opened. Sorry,
Brisbane.
The Brisbane hotel opened.
Brisbane.
So our business went up 10% when the Brisbane hotel opened. So the precinct mentality developed. So
Lux. That's the name. Lux.
Yeah.
You get it.
John Lethlane wrote a review very early on.
He's the Australian.
Yes.
With the Australian paper, yep.
And amazing review, fantastic. So it all
kind of seemed like it felt like hard, rough 12 months, and then it kind of sort of
12 to 18 months
just started
pretty tough. Then it started to gain momentum, and it never stopped. It really never stopped.
It's really smart to be across the road from the Queen's, because Queen's is one of the few, I reckon one of the few hospitality venues in Perth that is consistently busy.
Always busy.
Always.
Yeah,
like
that is
yesterday I
true.
drove past, it was raining and there was still people, I'm still busy.
Probably sitting outside in shorts.
And then people out, I go, and it's still busy. And that's what, it's just, my husband and I always drive past and we go, it's always busy. It's unbelievable. It's a great place to be.
You know what it is? You know, down that or back in the day, or even now with that, but you'd know when you'd go in, like it was a Thursday or Friday or whatever the weekend, you had your certain, you'd go have Master, you go to Queen's, you'd have that little strip and you'd sort of work your way out. It was the most perfectly situated, like where all the the cafes, the bars.
That precinct mentality. So
because we are all like that.
And people they would do if they couldn't get into the Brisbane because there were queues.
Yeah.
They might drift up.
Yeah.
The Lux crowd would come before they went to Lux at 10 or because they'd come up to Must. The bar would be 4 deep at 10 o'clock at night. It'd just keep on rolling, and then people would hive off and go over down to Lux. And the precinct mentality of that strip it really worked.
And
it
a lot
really
of us
liked.
were loyal. Well, you know, you would go regardless of
But
rain.
there was, I always say there was warmth about Must. There's a warmth, I don't know if it's a wood or the people, I'm not sure, but I always felt warm in that bar. Like,
I always had a good time when I went. Even food, I never had a bad moment.
And when you do talk to people about Must, I love talking about it. They said the food was the food was
Do you know
amazing.
what it is? The whole thing was the ambiance. Like like you said, as soon as you stepped in, went to the bar, you know, you were waiting, or even if you were just coming for a drink, the bar staff are always friendly, you know, and you're in a good mood when you're going out, having a chat, you know, and it's just looking, or when you're waiting as well, when it was really busy, just looking at that wall of alcohol, you know, you're sitting there going, I might try it. You know, it was smartly done. It was very smart.
And I think we cemented 40 k's an hour on Beaufort Street because people coming back and forth between Must and Queen's.
Well,
you remember those days?
Well, people were hit by cars.
Are you
I
serious?
shouldn't laugh.
Yeah.
No, but it is funny, but I'm sure they're all
One of
all
our
alive.
son's schoolmates' mothers got
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
collected by a car at the front. Luckily, she survived.
Yeah.
No, it was
It's-
it was a little bit
is-
average. I mean, as times have changed and liquor licensing laws and responsibilities change, those things have really, my goodness. I mean, we had security on Friday and Saturday nights at Must at a wine bar in Perth because
good old days.
it just got.
It got
It was a
ridiculous.
melee. It was. You had to be, Renee. You had to be tough to be a manager at Must because you had so many moving parts that you had to deal with.
Yeah.
You know, a venue that was licensed for 175 people, a function upstairs in the Champagne Lounge, a full deck in the restaurant, 4 deep in the bar, and some pill creating wants to have a fight with someone.
Yeah.
And luckily we didn't really attract those people, and that's
just
why
across the road.
well, we had this. I employed the security guard to keep them out
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart.
because they tip them out of the pub and they wander across the road,
Where are we
get
gonna
missed
go?
by 3 cars, and the security guard it literally. And funny, here's the story about the security guard. Dom from La Delizia Latticini was a security guard at Must Wine Bar.
All right.
So La Delizia Latticini, the best Italian fresh cheeses in
yes.
Perth.
Gorgeous.
Wow.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Oh, there you go.
Little
small
that
world.
could be a quiz night question.
Wow.
So, your favourite dish? Did you have a favourite dish that you like to cook at Must? At Must.
At Must.
Oh, look, there's 2 things. What would I like? I mean, I loved a great duck confit. We sold tens of thousands of legs of duck confit there, and I mean, I love a great duck confit. I think it's when you get that crisp shell of skin it's just this most delicate, crisp outer lining, but that salty moistness in the flesh. Great duck confit is a thing to behold. Charcuterie, absolutely.
Yeah.
The charcuterie plate, top 50 dishes in Australia, regularly in those lists, and it was only because of the dedication that Andre had and we had to produce every week when there was a charcuterie day every week. It was one production day a week, and whether Andre did it or myself or Chris Chong or whoever's doing the charcuterie, we didn't allow it too far out of the inner circle to touch it. and protecting the quality of it protected the quality of the dish. And as you know, Renee, you could not take that charcuterie plate out to a customer and put it down unless you could recite exactly what was on that plate. All the way. You could take the people on the trip around that plate.
Every time.
So new waiters, and look, I tried not to be scary. But a new wait person would come in and they'd grab the charcuterie plate and take it off, and I'd just say, "Look, can you just tell me what's on the plate, please?" And they'd freeze. So I just say, "Look, Renee, can you take this out, please?" And I'll just go through it with Julie or whoever it is, and I'll just walk you through it, because you were forbidden from putting that plate on the table unless you could talk people through it.
Yeah, but you know what? There is a method to that madness, obviously, because when people do ask you, you don't want to sit there going, I don't know. It's just
it's one you're educating people about it, and two you explain. If you have someone that comes out and is passionate about what's on the plate, then you'll understand that everything it sets the tone.
But you want to be.
It sets the tone for the whole meal. Like we're serious about what we do here. This is our great food. We're talking, and we want to let you know what it's about. And it was signature in Must. And you're right. We did train our staff on those. Plates. We did a lot of training on that plate.
Do you think that's why it was so successful? Because you kept it in a circle. Everyone knew what was on there. From start to finish. Obviously, it was well-oiled.
It was a commitment to the dish. Mm-hmm. It was a commitment to the production of it. It was a commitment to the service of it, and also the reason it was so successful is, as I said before, it just went so well with any glass of wine you would put down next to it. You've got a Chardonnay, you've got a Bubbles, you've got a Pinot, you've got
this was really important too when you got something.
It really worked. It kind of sang with the food. The wine always sang with the food. Hard to find a wine that didn't go well with it, and that goes to that story that I was going to say about charcuterie, and that is, a winemaker, Bill Pannell, said when I was an apprentice chef, go and stay. I was going to Europe to a international competition, cooking competition. He said, go and stay with some friends of ours, the Wassermans in Burgundy, in Côte de Beaune. And little did I know is Rebecca Wasserman was one of the greatest importers of Burgundy into the United States, revered. We stayed in a 300-year-old bar, and I cooked them dinner over wood fire, actually. Next morning, the sun grabbed my sister and her friend and myself, and they upstairs, and we did a wine tasting. And they had these bottles of wine, red wine, Pinot Noir, on a map, and we just tasted them. Tasted so different. The ones from the top of the coat, elegant, feminine, beautiful, perfumed, incredible. The ones from the bottom were more intense, fuller-bodied, a little bit rich, almost a little bit rough in some ways. And he got us in a 2CV and drove us to every vineyard. And literally, some of the vineyards were from here to where my car's parked, away, 100 metres away. And the difference in the wine was incredible. And that's where I learned about terroir. Mm-hmm. He drove us up to Dijon, parked around the corner from a bistro. We had a charcuterie and we had red Burgundy. And that's when I wanted to open a French bistro.
Oh, there you go.
That was the defining moment.
Oh,
that was it.
How interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a good story, isn't it?
That is.
Oh.
It was very special.
Yeah.
Never forget it.
The charcuterie plate's got a lot of fat in it. Like it's
amazing
hearty and fatty, and that's why it just goes well with most wines. I liked it with a Riesling, actually, and I think
fantastic with Riesling,
because it used to cut through. It was like steel cutting through the fat. Was great. Yeah.
I'm hungry. You guys got to stop really talking about food, because all I want to do is eat.
I know, and I think if I can say my favourite must dish was the crab pasta.
Angel hair pasta.
Yeah, angel hair pasta.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look, it was a big dish, the biggest selling dish in the venue, and we had fresh frozen but raw crab that was actually picked. That was from Shark Bay, and unbelievable amounts of crab, unbelievable amounts of fresh angel hair pasta went through that place, and a lot of people still talk about it, and it has popped up on menus since. in Prendiville Group, actually.
Sorry.
Just saying.
I
I
can
can go
find
find
it.
I can
Well,
find it. Can I?
Isola on Rottnest Island.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
biggest selling dish.
I would
in
just
the
come
venue.
there just for
Well,
that.
we haven't been there for a while.
Oh,
we should go down
we
there
should
for
go
a
say
day.
hi. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Just a bit of a shout out there.
It's fun. It's a really simple dish, but I've got photos of
my God.
Maestro, my sous chef, with eight because every dish had to be made in its own individual pans. You can never make an angel hair crab pasta
Wow.
2 in one pan. So it's individual. So I've got a photo of him with 8 pans on the stoves, on the burners, going over the grill and a char grill, and that was the intensity of that dish.
You've got to be a little bit mad, seriously, to be able to do all that. You've got to have a bit of madness in.
You've got to
you.
you've got to be a bit mad.
Just looking so calm. I'm like, you've got to be
He's
like.
Russell always calm in the kitchen.
I can't
Always.
see that.
Always.
It's got to be.
Look, I worked for one of the calmest chefs ever. Anton Mossyman was the head chef of the Dorchester Hotel, and I had his books as a young apprentice in the Sheraton Hotel in Perth, where I was an apprentice.
Mm-hmm.
And Ernst Pfister was my exec chef there, and Ernst told me, this guy's the greatest chef in the world, Anton Mossyman. I bought the books. Ernst just said, this guy's a god. And eventually when I got the books and read about him, and no internet back in those days, it was like Bush Telegraph.
Proper research.
Yeah. you had to buy the books and all that. And I went, I want to work for this guy. I'd done really well. I'd become National Apprentice Chef of the Year. I'd been to Frankfurt in Germany. After going to Frankfurt, I went to London and interviewed in several hotels, the Savoy, the Dorchester, Inn on the Park, all those. But the one I was most nervous about was with Anton Mossyman at the Dorchester. And this guy, in all the years, in the several years I worked there, I never heard him raise his voice.
Yeah.
And he had immense power and control from just being very quietly spoken. Please, can you just do that? Or he'd look at something that'd be on the floor next to you and you go, oh my God, I've dropped something, and you go and pick it up. He just wielded, I think I respected that, and capital R respect came out of not being a hothead.
Yeah.
So I modelled myself on that.
Yeah.
And I think it was like that anyway, but I learnt that you didn't need to do that to get what you wanted in a kitchen environment.
Do you not notice that though? It's the psychology behind it. You know, when they're quietly spoken, it's like you've got to hear harder. You've got to stop, listen. It's like with kids, really. You forget sometimes in that moment of psychoticness when you're screaming like a banshee. But I'm just saying, it's interesting you say that in a kitchen, because I've only ever seen, yelling, screaming, or I've heard, you know what I mean? Or you see, and you can feel that tension in the kitchen. Whereas that's actually quite smart, because you've got thinking like, shit, like I've really fucked up. Yeah. It's more powerful in the quiet than the yelling.
And I think when you hire good people, if they make a mistake, they'll punish themselves. You don't need to punish them. Like
because it's that disappointment in that you're going, shit, I've
let people down.
Yeah, it's an interesting the way you say it's actually smarter. Yeah. It is a lot smarter, and it's more calm, I suppose, in your kitchen for yourself.
So the comment around must was chefs would often walk into the kitchen on a Saturday service night or a Friday night, and they would come out of it and go, gee, it's a quiet kitchen.
Yeah.
Because there's no yelling and screaming. Everyone knew their roles. We'd call the docket away. That's it. And away you go. And the wheels turned. And it just, like I've got a book at home called Restaurants That Work. And it's about design, but, restaurants in Australia that work and are profitable and whatever, I mean, they're kind of unicorns, let's be honest. They're for 20 years.
Climate.
For 20 years.
Yeah.
Let's just qualify that.
Mm-hmm.
So it just had a really good buzz, and I think the environment we developed in the kitchen, I think also you would have noticed on the floor, is that we were constantly developing people. We were constantly driving them. We were constantly challenging people. Nobody came in to have a rest.
Well,
you
you
could
absolutely
not.
loved it.
I always say, look, and I think Russell knows I became a school teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon you would have been a pretty fierce school teacher.
Oh, well,
pretty,
I
pretty,
it's like
pretty hardcore. Just saying.
I ran the classroom like a restaurant. I said that before.
Yeah.
So, I was
does that in life
I
as well.
was working at a school that kids had no pens and pencils. I was in a really hard school.
Yeah.
My whole life, always hard to start with. But I'd set up tables for them with pens and pencils and paper, and they'd come in, and the door was always open, and I'd greet them at the door. Everything I learned in restaurants and at Must, I did apply to the classroom.
But when we would have drinks and, you're working, we would wait afterwards and we'd go out.
But
watching you, though, you were always like, oh, God, like, patrons and stuff like that. But you were just always like, still like, yeah, buzzing.
But my biggest compliment to Russell, I never felt like I worked there.
No, you didn't.
I used to come. I loved it.
She would thrive off it, and you're like,
shouldn't have paid you.
Work.
Shouldn't have paid
Save money.
But I did. But then I became a school, and they realised what work was when I became a teacher, if that makes sense. But then that restaurant was always the same, so it was always on.
But I think the other thing hospitality presents is it you actually see everything. It presents the entire world to you.
The good and the bad.
You see the good and the bad.
Good people.
You
Humanity, really.
You experience so much, and I think it gives you really good kind of experience.
Life skills. It
Life
all goes
skills.
hand in hand, really.
Oh, look, back in the days, I was a partner in a place called 44 King Street in the
I was
city.
going to ask, I've never heard your story about that.
Well,
place.
Marg Johnson, who's an absolute legend in the hospitality industry, she worked with Phil Sexton, and I interviewed with Mark for a head chef job for Astoria in Claremont. This is a hell of a long time ago. And Mark said, well, actually, we've got another idea for you, Russell. We've got something else. Come and have a chat to Phil. And they were opening a place called 44 King Street, number 44 King Street, or King Street Cafe, as most people knew it.
Yeah.
It was the roasting home for Dome Coffees, for Dome. It was this vibrant cafe based on Dean and DeLuca in New York, where we baked our own bread. We'd open breakfast, lunch and dinner all the way through. And we had this menu that to this day I cannot believe just how creative we were in that venue with the menu that we executed.
Wow.
So we would, I mean, as I'll get back to that menu, but experience. So sex in the toilets, heart attacks in the restaurant, ambulances.
You are in the city, though. King Street.
We had a guy we called the Kissing Man, and he was unfortunately he was a vagrant who used to come in, and he'd go up to a woman and he'd grab their arm and start kissing him up and down the arm, like
the appetizer.
like that. So, and like by that time I became the restaurant manager. So I'd stepped out of the kitchen. This is after 8 or 9 years, and I was managing the restaurant. And I worked out that if you thrust your arm in place of hers, he'd kiss your arm and you'd walk him out.
Oh, wow.
Hey, come on, give me some.
That's pretty cool.
Give me some marks there. But
Very creative.
It's very creative.
So I was a business partner by the time I was managing and whatever. But back on that comment about creativity. So Kurt Sampson, who recently unfortunately passed away, was a sous chef at Must. David Coomer was my sous chef.
Wow.
When he just landed from Sydney. We would have a table of the sous chefs and the senior chefs and myself. I think I had the power of veto, but it was a collaborative menu. Every week on this changing menu, we would change 6 or 7 dishes.
Jesus, that's a lot.
Every week.
Wow.
So David would come in. He cooked amazing Middle Eastern food and he cooked amazing Asian food. Kurt was developing a really good feeling for Middle Eastern food. Roy Thompson was there cooking really, really good quality classic food. I was there with my French classics and that background. So what would happen is if Dave came up with a dish and it was going to be a Thai salad, and we kind of go, yep, you're it. That's your dish. So you had to execute recipe, cost.
Yeah.
That went on the menu, and then I would do my dish, and so 6 or 7 dishes per week.
Wow.
So it was such a creative hotspot. It was by far the hardest way to run a hospitality venue.
Yeah.
But
No, it
we
would be.
did it. We did it, and it was really rewarding. And as the people that went through 44 King Street, they have really fond memories of that as well. Some of the people who didn't get a job there, Melissa Palinkas, I didn't give a job to, and Tony. I was doing I used to do charity events called Surfing Chefs for
Yes,
Surf Aid.
you did. Yes.
And Tony Howe, great mate, used to come, and I searched out. We started in Mugg River, so as you know, and I just rang up guys around Mugg River and said, "Look, do you surf? Oh, yeah, okay. Actually, I want you to come and do this charity thing with me." We ended up raising $500,000 for Surf Aid in multiple events around Australia. Tony's at one of these events, several events in, because he came and did them all. I flew him over to Sydney with him. We did one at the bucket list in Sydney. And he stands at one of these events and says, "Oh, by the way, Russell in front of 200 people. Oh, Russell didn't give me a job. I went in and applied for a job at Must Wine Bar at 44 King Street. And Russell didn't give me a job. And I go, what the? And he said, no, Russell said that I've been flitting around 2 months. I haven't spent a year in one place. Go and settle down and get a job in one place, and it'll be good. It'll be good for you."
In front of everyone.
He said that in front of everyone.
Your face would be like,
And I'm going, what the? And I'm going, actually, I probably did say that. But the good thing is, he said I took the advice and it was good. You know, like
so there's a positive story there. God.
apart from taking the piss out of me.
Can you imagine him if it turned around going, he was a prick and it was wrong? And I was just like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
it worked out.
But they were the days when we had a huge selection of people to choose from and competition from quality people to employ them, which is a little bit different now.
Do you find like, say, in the last 20 years in that industry, in the hospitality, it's changed a lot then? Are you saying the quality was better back then, or it's just different now?
Look, it's different now because we don't see the skill level in kitchen employees. We don't see that level of skill. That's not a criticism of the individuals that are applying. I think kitchens these days are becoming more and more shortcutting of technique.
They're not giving that creative outlet, really.
They're not training. There's less and less training in kitchens, and I guess the advice I always say to people is go and work in kitchens where they're doing everything from scratch.
Yeah.
Because if they're baking the bread, if they're making charcuterie, if they're producing and filleting and doing the fish from scratch, if they're doing all the slow cooking and sous vide cooking, if they're doing all of that stuff from scratch, you're going to learn how to do it. And that technical basis will always stand you in good stead.
But I think that comes through too, that when you go into, like, say, even a bakery, like all that old school kind of like training, that back, in the day I had this. It's all kind of coming back now if you see it.
It is.
And it actually, it's harder. I would say it'd be a lot harder now than back then, especially like everyone's trying to make a quick buck. Now you're actually having to work at it to bring that back, I think, when you're going to a place and if it's there or not. Don't you think?
I do, and I think part of the change in training and people working in hospitality and kitchens is that the benefit, there's so much benefit in the way that we are now treating people, in the employment laws, in the hours that we're allowed to work people. All of that has changed because, we could do a 12 or 14-hour day to get the charcuterie knocked out and do service at night and whatever. You can't do that now. So therefore, what are you going to take out of your day in terms of technique and effort to keep that day at 8 hours or 7.5 hours? What are you going to surrender? So it becomes, what compromise will you make on menu, on technique, on level of expertise into each plate of food will you make to get a great result for the customer, but also keep the requirements you have for keeping hours low. And it's the best thing ever. It's so good seeing people in hospitality being treated properly, being paid properly, working the correct amount of hours, getting proper days off. It's
It would be
so
different to back
refreshing.
20. Like you hear stories like I worked like 18 out. Like my husband as well. When you hear his stories of how he got up, like being 16, learning, he had 2 nervous breakdowns nearly. You know what I mean? Like just exhaustion, like body exhaustion, just from constantly working like the cafes that he started up and all this stuff. And it's just like you think, shit, how did you survive that? Like you wouldn't. You think honestly, you go, can't do that now. Like it wouldn't even be. It's a different time. I think.
I think working in the place working in hospitality and in cooking is different. I don't think ownership ever changes in terms of the pressure and the hours it takes. And I just see how in the group that I'm working for now, it's lovely to see people being treated fairly, and layers and layers and layers of fairness in process.
Yeah,
it's just so nice to see.
That's good. That's what I think you need, though.
Yeah, it's really good for hospitality to see it change, because in my days we were spending a lot of our time on working out how to get people to enter hospitality. We spoke about Richard Overby.
Richard.
So I started with Kate Lamont and Neil Jackson's, a few other chefs around town. We started a thing called Taste, which was we'd get school-age year 11 or 12 students to come into a restaurant hosted with their teacher, so they're allowed to be there. We would get 15 or 20 of them in our restaurants. We'd sit them down and then we'd cook for them. And then we'd come out, I would talk about my experience in hospitality, and then I would bring someone closer to their age. And we did this in every venue, an apprentice. And I think Chris Chong obviously would come out and chat about his experience.
Yeah.
Richard Overby was sitting at one of those tables. And this bright-eyed kid was at this table, and I was talking about Marshall's Torbay asparagus or something. And you look at these kids and you just kind of go, well, hang on, this kid's bright. He's already in hospitality. He's doing part-time work after school. He's got the commitment to do it. And we had an opportunity to employ Richard as an apprentice.
Yeah. So yeah.
And boy,
God, Richard is shout out to you, Richard. The happiest chef I ever met. Always smiling. Like I'd be running around like a blue ass fly, and he'd go, "Hi, how are you?" I'm going, "Oh, Richard, you make my day," and I'd run back out the kitchen again. But he's at Angelwood Pies in Leederville. He has his own pie making.
We have spoken about this.
Yeah,
and this is what I love about hospitality is Richard developed. I mean, he's an incredibly talented chef, Amaru in Melbourne, doing incredible food, but he's taken, and the ability with our industry is you can take all of that skill and all of what's kind of you've reduced down into your knowledge, like that jus of knowledge that you've reduced over hours and days and weeks and months. And he's said, this is what I want to do. It's my lifestyle, it's my future, and it's where I want to be. And I want to make great pies and kind of make my mark in the food industry and doing that. And look, he's slogging it out there. He's doing a great job, but the pies I've had there are great.
Yes, yeah.
It's a staple piece too. Pies. Can't go wrong with pies.
Well, you
Cannot go wrong.
Whether you're hungover, you're sober, it just goes well with everything,
I was in New Zealand in March, and I've got to say the pies I had, I wanted to start an Instagram page on, pies of New Zealand, the great pie tour of New Zealand. They're incredible over there.
New Zealand.
The greatest things. There's such good pies in New Zealand. And people look at me a bit sideways when I talk about pies in New Zealand.
Because it's an Aussie thing. It's, known to be.
I tell you what, it's more a New Zealand thing, I tell you, because they make great pastry and terrific pies with great fillings. And I think we got something to learn, because they're seriously good pieces of kit.
That could be your little side hustle, meat pies.
I don't think Russell needs a side hustle. I think he's busy.
I'm beyond side.
I think Russell's Russell's side hustle.
Hang on, this is what I just want to know. When you're entertaining at home, this is interesting to hear. What is like your signature? Do you have a signature, dish? Are you a cook everything at once kind of thing, or is it just like is it a journey throughout the evening, like dishes and dishes? Or you're always inspired, try something new, see how this goes.
I have a few loves of food. I love Balinese food.
Oh, yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
We don't do it so much now, but for years I'd have a couple of trips to Bali, one surf trip, one family trip with surf. So I'm a surfer, and we'd always be eating Balinese food. On the family trips, I'd always go to cooking classes,
wow.
or and I became a real student of Balinese food, and that if I'm going to take the time and cook a beautiful bumbu paste and do a fish wrapped in banana leaf or something like that, or a satay's, you name it, I'll try and do something like that. That is to me a big dinner with friends. There was a place that used to serve pork ribs that we used to go to because it was near where we stayed, and they simmered them in a stock made with fragrant Balinese spices, and then they would brush them in this sweet soy brushing stock, and then char grill them, and all you could smell from the 200 metres walking up to this
My stomach's
place
grumbling.
was this char of pork and sweet soy burning on the char grill. So I spent 2 years developing that recipe, and I've got it.
Wow.
And my mates, the biggest compliment was my mates saying, "Yep, that's it. You got it. You nailed it," which is really good. I don't bring that out too often, but it's nice to bring it out.
Just your little flashy, we'll put it in the back pocket there. Just bring it out.
So Bali holds a really solid place for food. Generally at home, it's simple is best. Something off the barbecue, something out of the pizza oven. Love doing pizzas at home.
But do you ever relax? Because we've had this kind of little, when we host, my husband never will sit at the table. He'll be because he does everything on the bar, like pizza, we've got different machinery and all this kind of stuff. He will never sit down, and I swear to God, we've gone through, I think there was one particular famous night that we had. I think it was like 2:00 in the morning, and I shit you not, I think we were through dish 6, and he had like 3 or 4 to go, and we were that plastered drunk. We had so much, there was only so much meat. I think he was like, I want to try this, I'm going to marinate in that. And we were like, great. But to the point, I had to hide the meat. I think I put it on top of the fridge because the next day when everyone had left, it was like pretty much the next day, that mid-morning everyone left, and I went to open the fridge and I just got attacked by bloody meat. I'm thinking, oh my God, I just remembered I had hid that, because he was like, oh, we didn't try this. I go, we were so loaded. He goes, I just can't sit and relax. That's my thing. I can think nothing worse.
Russell, I think
I feel like you'd be like,
what does
Tam gets a little bit upset with me. Because if we've got something a little bit more important, or we've got more friends coming over, Tam will say to me, "What are you doing?" And so I'll be in the kitchen, I'll be prepping, chopping, getting it ready, and I'll be doing it.
Are you quiet, not speaking when you're doing this?
I'm doing it at chef speed, and Tam kind of says, "What's wrong? What's wrong?"
And I said, "That's me." Why aren't you talking to me?
What's the problem? I'm just cooking. I'm just getting it done. Yeah, because it's the cooking is the means to an end, but
isn't it second nature? Like, you know what you're doing. Your fingers should be doing it.
Yeah, but
this is where I don't get it. I don't get that. I'm like, just talk to me.
But the thing is, it is also my job. And why would you do something over 2 hours when you can do it in 1?
Oh, such a chef.
Yeah,
I get that.
I understand that. I understand that.
Get it done.
Yeah, get it done.
I'm even in the kitchen. He'll say that. Can you get out? Because your housewife cooking and methods are just annoying me, and I can do it in 30 minutes instead of an hour and a half. I'm like, all right, I'm getting out. Yeah.
So that causes a bit of friction sometimes. And look, but I'll go.
Starting with wife,
but I'll probably try and go simpler and really good ingredients. So I mean, Tam and I went down to Collie a few weeks ago, and I had this auction prize staying at this beautiful place called Red Tail Retreat.
Wow.
And in the conversation about going and staying there, they said, "Oh, by the way, we've got friends who have marron." I said, "Get me a kilo."
Marron's beautiful.
Absolutely, get me a kilo. And before I packed in the car, so what am I going to do with them? So I'm going to make marron banziao, which is a crispy Thai yellow pancake. You know, the yellow pancakes,
wow.
they're crispy.
Yeah.
And I thought that'd be nice with marron. I'll do that. So it's like, so I'm very relaxed. Very relaxed. Got down there, and I'm pulled these marron. They're scrabbling around or whatever, and I just grab one, and it grabs me, and you can see that mark on my thumb. It put the claw through my thumbnail.
Holy shit!
Russell.
And
Too relaxed. You were too relaxed.
So, boy, that marron did not have a good day after that. I can tell you that.
Were you like, die?
So in the
Sorry,
freezer,
Peter lovers.
in the freezer to slow them down.
Yeah.
So,
Split. Then blanch them just to set the shell. Peel the raw flesh out of the shell, and then you just you put this pancake mix in the pan, and some spring onions, and then the marron flesh and some other condiments, and then you have fresh mint and lettuce leaves and herbs and Vietnamese mint
I'm gonna
and
start eating from now.
you know,
on
like
before I come here.
all of that. And you're crunching on the outside of the pancake, but you've got this marron flesh inside that's just absolutely
Beautiful.
So that was pretty special. So that was
It
going
sounds
that was
like
going
it.
that was going to town. But at home, if we've got a bunch of friends and we're onto the red wines and we've done some pizzas, if I get an amazing piece of beef and salt and pepper on the barbie, really get it a char, give it a really long rest, and just slice it up and give it to them. Maybe with a chimichurri that's fresh, herbs out of the garden, because the garden's right behind the barbecue area, from parsley, some mint, some stuff like that. I don't think you can beat it, because you wipe it through the chimichurri, you've got this beautiful piece of beef that's just been cooked.
It.
It's, glass of red, everyone's happy.
And on the barbecue, like the wood, just,
Russell and I had a chat years ago, and I said something like, Russell, shall we do this and do this? And Russell, you described yourself as a purist?
Could be. Depends on what.
But do you... So
yeah,
what does that? Can you explain?
I think
you're not a purist. I don't think.
No,
definitely not.
So I'm not a big fan of mixing cultures in food.
No fusion.
No confusion. I'm
Confusion.
I mean, I think
they are confused.
Yeah.
there are people in the world that can do it, and they do amazing work with it. But I'm not one of them, and I think when people mix cultures, they've either got to be amazingly talented, or it rarely works.
I'd agree there.
Yeah, I do like to stick to so the King Street menu I was talking about before. That was a stopover menu. So if you get on a plane and you land in Bangkok, that dish had to come from Bangkok.
Okay.
We didn't mix cultures.
Right.
So, and I've always kind of stuck with that.
Okay.
If you have a restaurant concept, keep on concept. Don't imagine Must Wine Bar serving a stir fry.
Yeah, no, God,
Yeah,
no.
that doesn't work.
It's not.
Doesn't work.
Spanglish.
That's a terrible thought.
I know.
confused.
No way.
Where
Look
am
at your
I?
face. It's like,
I know.
but
I understand what you're
get
saying.
it,
Yeah, I
you know?
understand what
Now
you're
you
saying.
get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And for me, my background in French cooking was totally technique driven.
Yeah.
And this will get back to these apprentices of today. I see people lacking those skills in technique, in background, because I don't know. I'd like to see someone make a béarnaise sauce.
Yeah.
Oh, good luck with that.
I would like to
Yeah.
see someone make one.
That's actually really good.
French cooking is all about these base sauces, and those base sauces can be used in so many different guises in so much food. Get someone to make a jus. Get someone to make a demi. Get someone to make a great stock. Because I thought I knew how to make a great stock. Andre always took the bones much harder than I would. He would always cook them harder, but the stock didn't come out with any burnt flavour. It was just with more flavour and more depth of colour. So I learned more about that from Andre.
There was a stock pot
every day of the week
in the kitchen on
110 litre stock pot
all the
Wow.
time. So you'd leave and come back, and the smell was
It
beautiful.
would have been beautiful, yeah.
The smell.
Just that aroma.
every day. We would leave that on overnight.
I know. I'd walk out and go, I always see it on.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you guys weren't like, you put on a lot of weight. I just would want to
'Cause we
eat
were-
all the
we
time.
were running around like
Do you-
chickens.
Too much nervous energy.
Would you, when you're cooking, do you eat a lot? Or do you even eat once you've cooked a meal?
Yeah.
I couldn't wind. So must for me is I'd get home at midnight and then I'd have something to eat. It's very hard while you're there.
What about when at home? Do you actually partake, or are you like, nah, because I've been tasting the whole time. I've done this. I'm over it now.
I do get days when I'm
Must be a chef thing
at multiple tastings with my current job as director of food for the group,
Yes, so yeah,
and
we
I'll
talk
be
about
in
that.
tastings,
Yeah.
and I'll get home and I'll just go, I can't eat
Yeah.
something, but I do anyway. But I'll probably I'll soften on it. That's part of the job, but the lifestyle of a owning the wine bar and being there, being home late, you actually develop a complete different body clock and eating clock because I'm eating at midnight at home, having something, and then it's a glass of wine, and then 2 a.m. if you're lucky, getting to bed, because you're just so wound up, because you're going from 170 people on a Friday or Saturday night, the going downstairs because the guy on the door is trying to get someone who's trying to have a fight with some woman in the bar out, and
that disabled toilet, Russell,
and a disabled toilet.
Oh yes.
I mean, there was a story, but
No, we're going there. You can't
yeah,
go there.
let's not go there. But so much
clean.
stuff happening, and then you get in the car and you drive home, and it's all quiet. There's silence, and it's like, great.
Yeah.
You just got to slowly trickle down the volume of adrenaline every single night.
Which would be hard to, I suppose, some nights longer than others. To get back to
the weekends,
to
were always
reality.
busy. But you're always doing something. In Must, you're always doing something. Like if it was a quiet night, you're doing more work because there was less people on. So there was always something to do. So the buzzing was the same all the time.
You were constantly were you ever like burnt? Did you ever think like, shit, I can't think of anything.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what the hell am I going to do now?
No, absolutely. So with King Street as head chef, and then I went out the front as manager. I realised I hadn't got the cooking out of me.
Yeah.
And then I went to work for Dome Coffees and opened cafes around Australia for them as a product development manager as well. And then the Must came up, and that was my opportunity to get back in the kitchen. I did not want to be anywhere near the floor. I've got that out of me. I wanted to be in the kitchen because I felt that's my home.
You still had more to give.
I had a lot. I hadn't burnt it all out of me by then. It actually, the time out had made me realise I needed to be back in there.
And so, Russell, if we can segue into what you're doing now.
Yes.
You should talk about that.
Yeah, I'm director of food for Prendiville Group.
Yes.
We've got, I think at last count, we've got 14 hotels that I deal with. And
He's really gone in his younger age. I'll say, I won't say older. He's really come down, hasn't he?
Yeah.
But this is a different life for me, and so my role is really, I work in the food area very closely with a bunch of amazing exec chefs. These guys are really cool. We work, we do things like we do procurement, we work with suppliers, we develop products for the group, but also get great products into the group and chefs using them. I don't write 14 menus. Why would I do that? I'm not a monopolizer. So I will just
empower people.
You're overseeing everything, really.
We hire good people. We hire great people, and they've got great ideas and some really good technicians and really excellent exec chefs. So we talk food. We'll develop menus together. We make sure concepts are carried through so that we're not going off concept.
Yep.
We develop new concepts. We develop new restaurant concepts. We developed Isola and opened that
Rottnest.
about 3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Really have to check that out.
Yeah.
Which is just a wonderful
They
zone.
needed something on that island.
I've seen you,
sorry.
Graham. It looks beautiful.
Andrea at Isola, Andrea's living on the island, the head chef there. His wife and child are there. They're expecting their second child.
Yeah.
When you talk about all in, people like Andrea and it's terrible to single out one chef because there's a bunch of chefs across the group that just do such amazing work. And I learned at Must is that the more you can keep your hands off things, the better the thing will run. And the group is nothing about me. It's actually about getting really good people doing their jobs.
Yeah.
And one of the things I love doing is every year I take the group of exec chefs on a chef's tour.
Yeah.
Last year we just went down to the Great Southern and to Manjimup and to the southwest, and it's wonderful. And I got as inspired as all the chefs in the places we visit. So we went to Lake Janice Farm, which is the only Jersey beef producing farm in Australia. Incredible commitment from Dean and Julia down there. They're growing sheep, they're growing yellow kiwi fruit, avocados, you name it. They're doing really good stuff. So then to bookend that, we went and had David Coomer in Manjimup, who's got the truffle farm, but also a beautiful cafe shop there to cook us the beef at lunch, and Marin from his dam and his truffle miso that he's doing as well.
I think we're going down south.
Down through.
But that's the one thing about Russell is that you don't
stop.
It's the reward and it's the effort and it's his pure passion for what everything.
You're evolving still,
or ever changing, and that's what's made you such a success. And I'm not just saying that because you're sitting here. I always have fond memories of working with Russell. Do you want to just quickly before we wrap this all up? Should we do our little 20?
Can I actually wait before we do that? Can I ask you what this week anyway? What was one of the favourite wines?
Wines. What's your favourite wine at the moment?
At the moment, what are you drinking? This week.
No,
how do you
it's
pick
hard.
a wine of the week? I'm thinking for. I can't remember the name of the producer, but Dave Mullen imports it, and it was a Barbera out of Italy.
Okay, so light red.
It delivered fruit and structure and fun in the same bottle.
Okay.
And it was from Dave Mullen. Can't remember the producer, but it was delicious. And I
you just answered it for me. That'd be my response. I don't know.
Having sons that particularly, they'll we try and have a Friday night dinner with our family and their partners and whatever, and having if they want some, they'll try it, and Sam will go, oh gee, I like that, and these Sam and Alex, they've been. Sam's in the food game.
Yeah,
Russell's
boys are gorgeous.
And Alex is not in the food game, but Alex he bakes at home. He does. He smokes at home. He does. Everyone's connected.
Yeah.
So they do like their food. They do like the taste things and experience things like that. And that one, we all kind of said, gee, that's delicious.
Yeah.
Forgot the brand.
Lucy, should we do your segment for fun really
right.
quickly?
Oh, here we go. What's this?
Okay, so this is the first. You go ahead, Lucy.
I'm going to ask you 20. It's just really quick. First thing that comes to your head.
Yeah.
I'm going to say there's 20 of them. It's just one word.
All right.
And you got to
and just one answer.
20 and 30.
Just a quick whatever
Pressure.
pops in your head.
Yeah.
Pressure.
All right. It's really easy and it's fun. All right. Kitchen.
Hard work.
Okay. Rottnest.
Isola.
France.
Charcuterie.
Pate.
Chicken liver.
Ocean.
Surf.
Winery.
Chardonnay.
Family.
Friday.
Millennials.
Whatever.
Vegans.
Whatever.
Meat.
Beef.
Service.
Love.
Technology.
Need it.
Margaret River.
Home.
Must.
Home.
Friends.
Family.
Champagne.
Bubbles.
Amalfi Coast.
Never.
Dessert.
Pavlova.
Oh, yes, the best. Football.
Dockers.
All right.
Yeah.
And Melbourne.
Food.
Agree.
Agreed.
That's a
And
good
on
one.
that note, Russell, we'd like to thank you for coming today. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you in the studios. We hope maybe in the future come back for another interview if you have time.
That was lovely. It was fun.
Yeah, it
Keep
is fun.
talking.
Thanks,
I know
Renee.
what's
Thanks,
going
Lucy.
on.
That's fun.
And
Thank
to
you.
all our listeners, wishing you a fantastic week, and we'll see you next week. See you soon.